I can say what everybody on the left-leaning media has said, right? Undisciplined, this is crazy, how could he talk about that? I think it's a little bit more nuanced than this. I don't believe that Donald Trump does anything without some sort of purpose, some sort of strategy. And what everybody want to call him, he's not a dumb guy. I am struggling a little bit to find the strategy of holding this press conference and some of the things he said, so I throw it to you.
Well, I think he wanted to reclaim the narrative. For the last 14-plus days, we've been talking about Kamala Harris, her running mate, her campaign. Today, all eyes were focused on Donald Trump. He wanted to reclaim the media narrative, and he got it. He's talked about the debates right out of the gate. I mean, look, for Donald Trump, a lot of people were concerned that he'd go after her on a very personal level, that he'd attack Tim Walz. He stayed pretty true to issues for Donald Trump. He reclaimed the narrative. He talked about the debates. The ball falls back in her court now. Now the question, as you pointed out, is people are asking, will you accept the other debates? She asked whether or not he was scared to debate her. That's fully over. This is a guy who just took a bullet, and she's trying to claim that he was scared to debate her for a debate that he agreed to with Joe Biden. The question is she going to now agree to the other ones that he proposed? The other networks have accepted those. We have a traditional three-debate schedule. So the ball is in her court, and that's what the goal was today. The goal was to reclaim the narrative.
I can agree with that. And, Chris, I see you chomping at the bit. I'm going to get to you in 1 second. I just want to ask you one thing about that, Sean. Reclaim the narrative. And I made this same criticism during the RNC speech. The world was watching Donald Trump, and he went on a 90-minute, what some could say was a rant. I thought it was a squandered opportunity. Why, and during today, did he have to say that he gets 10 to 30 times the crowd size than Kamala Harris? That means getting 150,000 to 450,000 people at his rallies, which isn't true. Why even say that? That's not the narrative he wants.
Yeah, I don't think that the news coming out today was crowd sizes, and I know a little bit about that subject, so I'm going to be careful how I tread on it. That being said, that being said, I appreciate Chris giving Chris the chuckle.
Memories for him.
Okay, so Chris,
exactly.
so fair.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay. You know what?
You
get my point.
Bipartisanship.
You get my point. You get my point. Chris, I'll throw it to you.
I do, but you know what? If that's with all due respect, I mean, and I appreciate Chris adding some bipartisanship to this, but if that's the one criticism or the big thing today, then that's a win for Donald Trump.
I don't know if that's the one. We'll get into it. But Chris, I'm going to throw it now to you because the other way of looking at this is, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond to what you thought happened today, but the counter argument is, hey, think about what you want about what he said today. At least he took a press conference. Kamala Harris hasn't done it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I guess it caused her to take a couple of questions outside the plane, and it'll probably cause her to take a few more questions. But I got to seize on one thing Sean said. For Donald Trump, I think that the American people are about to stop grading him on a curve, right? He was wild. He was weird. But like Sean said, wasn't as bad as he normally is. He just called a woman stupid for no reason, bragged about his crowd size, compared himself to Martin Luther King, a guy who thinks he's going to win more African-American votes. Comparing himself to Martin Luther King, probably not the best thing for him to do, right?
Okay.
So I think the question we have to all ask ourselves right now, when will the media and when will the American people stop grading this guy on a curve? I think he was a failure as a president.
And Sean,
2020 in my mind.
Sean, I'll go to you 1 second. I just want to press Chris on this for a second. See, here's the problem. I could hear you with that, but if this is a game of optics and it matters what Kamala Harris says right now, wouldn't you agree that there is an issue about her off the cuff? Her on prompter, fantastic. But her off the cuff, and there is a concern about doing a press conference. There is a concern about doing an interview. There is maybe concern about her doing a debate with Donald Trump in an unprepared territory, in an uncharted territory in a way. That's the question I ask. Because look what happened, very different scenario, but for, President Joe Biden had a lot of issues with how he's speaking in that debate. I think the thing for Harris is to prove she can answer these questions. Chris, throw it back to you.
Look, Jesse, before Sean and I were talking heads that America adored, we used to be in battle doing campaigns and preparing candidates. And we will both agree that there's always risk when a candidate talks unscripted, particularly with a motivated press corps. So there's always going to be a risk there. But I will say this, Donald Trump and the rest of Republicans focusing on this are, again, lowering the bar for Kamala Harris, and that will help her when they actually do debate in September. because they're saying she's not intelligent. She doesn't have depth on the issues. She can't speak in complete sentences. They did the same thing with Biden. They happen to be right.
Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.